How much does it cost to travel Europe for a month? Planning a month-long trip to Europe is a dream for many, but one of the first questions that usually comes up is, how much will it actually cost? The truth is, the cost of traveling through Europe can vary dramatically based on where you're going, what type of traveler you are, and the level of comfort you prefer. With so many diverse countries, each with its own costs and experiences, a month-long trip requires careful budgeting. In this video, we'll break down the major expenses you need to consider for an epic European adventure, from accommodation to food, transportation, activities, and more. By the end, you'll have a clearer idea of what to expect and how to plan a trip that fits your budget without sacrificing the experience. Flights and transportation. When it comes to the biggest expense of any European trip, flights tend to take the crown. Depending on where you're flying from, a round-trip flight to Europe can range from $300, 0 cents, to $1, 50 cents. Keep in mind, flights to major hubs like London, Paris, or Barcelona are often cheaper, while more remote destinations may be pricier. Once you arrive, Europe's extensive transportation network is both a blessing and a challenge. Flights, trains, buses, and even ferries all need to be considered. Budget airlines like Ryanair or EasyJet offer cheap flights between cities, sometimes as low as $20, 0 cents to $50, 0 cents if booked early. Trains and buses also provide affordable options for getting around, especially with rail passes. A month-long trip might see you spending between $500, 0 cents, and $1.50 on transportation, depending on how much you move around. To keep costs low, consider booking transportation in advance, using travel deals, and sticking to regional locations to minimize your travel time and cost. Or accommodation costs. Accommodation is another significant part of the budget, and Europe offers a wide range of options depending on your preferences. Hostels, Airbnb, and budget hotels are common choices for those looking to keep things affordable, with prices ranging from $20, 0 cents, to $80, 0 cents per night for budget-friendly options. If you choose to stay in popular cities like Paris or London, expect to pay on the higher end of this. For a month-long stay, you might end up spending anywhere between $600, 0 cents, to $2.40 on accommodation alone. If you want to save even more, consider staying in smaller towns or rural areas where prices tend to be lower and you can experience a quieter, more local side of Europe. Alternatively, if you're traveling with a group or in a family, booking private apartments or vacation homes could offer better value, especially in cities with a high cost of living. Food and drink. Food in Europe can be a delightful experience, but it can also eat into your budget if you're not careful. Street food and local cafes can be quite affordable, with meals costing anywhere between $5, 0 cents, to $15, 0 cents for a filling dish, especially in Eastern Europe or southern countries like Spain or Greece. In Western Europe, however, expect to pay a bit more, particularly in tourist hotspots. If you eat out for 3 meals a day in major cities, the cost can easily add up to $30, 0 cents, to $50, 0 cents a day. However, there are ways to save. Shop at local markets for fresh produce, snacks, and ready-to-eat meals, or cook your own meals if you have access to a kitchen. In total, food for the month can range from $900, 0 cents, to $1.50, depending on your dining choices. Drinking coffee, trying the local wines, or grabbing a beer at a pub can add to the experience, but also to your daily budget, so it's important to balance indulgence with practicality. Activities and sightseeing. Europe is full of world-class museums, historical landmarks, and scenic views, but they don't come free. Entrance fees for popular attractions like the Louvre in Paris or the Colosseum in Rome can range from $10, 0 cents, to $25, 0 cents per person. And if you plan to visit multiple museums or attractions, costs can quickly add up. But there are plenty of ways to experience Europe's culture without breaking the bank. Many cities offer free walking tours, which are a great way to learn about the history and culture of the place without spending much. In addition, many museums and attractions offer discounted or free admission on certain days of the week, so it's worth researching in advance. Budgeting for activities and sightseeing will vary based on what you plan to do, but a safe estimate for a month-long trip could be anywhere from $300 0 cents to $800 0 cents. Prioritize must-see sites and balance paid activities with free experiences to keep costs manageable. Travel insurance. While it's an additional expense that many travelers overlook, travel insurance is a crucial part of any trip to Europe. Insurance can cover anything from lost luggage and flight cancellations to medical emergencies, something that could be costly without proper coverage. On average, travel insurance for a month-long trip can cost anywhere between $100 0 cents to $250 0 cents, depending on the coverage, your age, and the activities you plan to do. It's also worth checking if your existing health insurance covers international travel or if you need a specialized travel medical plan. In general, this is an expense you shouldn't skimp on. Accidents can happen when you least expect them, and having the peace of mind that you're covered is invaluable, especially if you're traveling across multiple countries with different healthcare systems. Souvenirs and shopping. If you love to shop or pick up unique souvenirs from every destination, it's important to factor this into your budget. Souvenirs, local crafts, and designer goods can vary greatly in price depending on where you are. You might find great deals in local markets, but upscale shopping districts in places like Milan or Paris can quickly inflate your spending. On average, you can expect to spend anywhere from $100 0 cents to $400 0 cents on souvenirs and shopping throughout the month. However, if you stick to small local markets, second-hand stores, or more affordable destinations, you'll be able to save a little money. Remember, it's easy to get caught up in the excitement of buying things, so set a spending limit and try to prioritize memories over material items. Miscellaneous costs. Besides the major expenses like flights, accommodation, and food, there are always smaller, unexpected costs that can add up over time. This includes things like public transportation, buses, subways, taxis, tips for guides or wait staff, and the occasional taxi ride when you're too tired to walk or wait for public transport. On average, transportation within cities can cost anywhere from $2 0 cents to $5 0 cents per trip, depending on the city. If you're in a major metropolitan area, public transit passes might offer good value for frequent travelers. You might also want to budget for other random expenses such as Wi-Fi fees, phone charges, or unexpected costs like laundry services or toiletries. Setting aside an extra $100 0 cents or $200 0 cents for these miscellaneous costs will ensure you're prepared for anything unexpected that comes up during your month in Europe. How much does it cost to travel Europe for a month? Based on all these factors, a rough estimate for a budget-friendly European adventure could range from $2,500 0 cents to $5 0 cents, with more luxurious or high experiences pushing the cost even higher. Of course, the final cost depends heavily on the countries you visit, your travel style, and how much you plan to move around. Eastern Europe, for example, is generally cheaper than Western Europe, and off-peak seasons tend to offer better prices than during the summer months. The most important thing is to plan ahead, set a realistic budget, and be mindful of where your money is going. With the right strategy, you can have an incredible European experience without breaking the bank. Whether you're backpacking through the continent or enjoying the finer things in life, Europe is waiting for you, and it's more affordable than you might think.